Hi guys, good morning all. In today's session, as already we discussed about the what is data science, what is the need of data science, what are the different type of data. With a simple analogy, we will discuss in yesterday's session. In today's session, the major agenda. So we are going to learn about the data science. So what are the steps at a high level which are involved into at high level? What are the steps which are involved at high level? What kind of thing? What are the different levels we have in the data science? You want to understand. And once I've done that, what is the typical day in a life of a data scientist? What is the roles? What are the different type of roles we have as a data scientist? If time permits, we'll discuss that. So first thing which we are going to discuss about the data science life cycle. So first of all, let's try to understand about the what are the different. So under the data science life cycle at high level, we have the different steps. Eight different steps. Eight different steps. First and foremost thing, as a data scientist, as already we discussed in yesterday's session, as a data scientist, we are always going to solve the business problems. We are going to solve the business problem. So the most important thing for us, understanding the business understanding or problem understanding. If you are not clear about a business problem, what are we going to solve? Then it will be really difficult to solve. So every industry we are solve the business problem. For an example, telecom industry. In the telecom industry, what are the different problems may occur? Maybe one of the major challenges a telecom company may facing a customer attrition. How to deal the customer attrition? For an example, if you go to the retail, customer loyalty, suppose if you go to the shopping malls, and customer loyalty is one of the most important thing. So how to attract the customers multiple time? How do you know how frequently customer is buying your products? For an example, if you are looking for the travel industry, airfare. So what could be the airfare tomorrow night? What could be the airfare tomorrow morning? How do you predict the dynamic pricing changes? Okay, insurance price elasticity. If you go to the banking industry, like we have a customer defaulter. Now the defaulter is nothing but any customer who is going to become the who is not paying continuously bills for continuously for some time. It could be a 2 months, it could be 3 months, it could be something. So every other industry we are using data science. So in today's session, we will talk about the telecom domain. One of the easy example we'll take and we consider how to solve that. We'll discuss. So second, so that's the business problem. So every data scientist, first and foremost thing, it is really important as what we are solving. In order to solve this business problem, what we require as a data scientist always play with the data collection. What are the different ways we can data collection? What are the different sources are we going to get the data? Once we collect the data, is the data is correct formatted data? Is there any understanding? I mean, understanding data is really important to us. Can you please keep the mics in mute? Can you please keep the mic in mute, please? Can you please keep the mics in mute? Can you please keep the mic in mute? VK. Okay. So, okay. And understanding the data. What is there in the given data? What kind of data it is? So, without knowing the data blindly, for an example, we want to telecom company. Can you please keep the mic in mute? Telecom company want to understand why customers are leaving the network. Blindly, I can say that because of network issue, because of some billing issue, because of payment issue. Blindly, we cannot tell that. With the with the evidence of data, we can able to tell. So that for that purpose, understanding data is really important to us. Okay. So once I understand the data, understanding the raw data, and then data preparation. What data preparation is does? So converts the raw data into more transformable data. Transformable data is nothing but more useful formats of the data, more useful formats of the data. And then data modeling is nothing but building the machine learning models or deep learning models, whatever the models. In the data modeling, which also include creating the new columns or new information, new feature, that is called as a feature engineering, and reduce the unwanted information or remove the unwanted information. Unwanted information means whatever the information which is not required to us. So model evaluation. So whatever the machine learning model we are building, how do you know that whether the model is correct or not? And finally, deploy. Deploy means you deploy into the production environment. Maybe in the cloud are we deploying? Are we deploying the local server? Are you deploying the right SQL server? Are you deploying the Spark or big data? And iterate every time after production, every month or every quarter, depends on our data requirement. We iterate this model. This is the at a high level steps of the data science life cycle. So what is the first step, guys? What is the first step in this session? What is the first step in this session? Business understanding. Am I right? What is the first step in this session? Business understanding. So for the business understanding, let me explain you one of the example for the business understanding. So okay, business requirement, business data science lifecycle. First thing is the business requirement or business understanding. So first of all, understand the problem. What problem are we going to solve? Most of the data science, what they does, once they receive the data, they'll start working on it. They'll start checking the summary statistic. They'll start checking the number of records and all. No, first and foremost thing you have to do whenever you receive a data, what are you going to solve? What is your requirement, business requirement, or what is your requirement? What is our problem requirement? What your client mentioned in your document to solve? That is what you need to understand. Blindly you cannot jump into data. Hey, I receive the data, I will start working on the data. It never works. First of all, first and foremost thing, we need to understand what are you going to solve. That is a understand the problem. Okay, if you solve particular problem, what is the scope, what is the benefit as the company are you going to get? What is the benefit is the company is going to get? In order to get the benefit, so what kind of information we require to predict or to get that? So let me tell you about the simple example. One of the company called Jio company. One of the company is the Jio, Mukesh Ambani's dream project, Jio. Jio facing a challenges of customer attrition. Jio facing a challenge of customer attrition. So what do you mean by attrition? People who doubt about the attrition. Attrition is nothing but leaving the network. Leaving the network. Geo facing a challenge of attrition. What do you mean by attrition? Attrition is nothing but leaving the network. Okay, leaving the network. Now that means Geo facing a challenges of customer attrition, leaving the network. Customers are leaving the network. Now Geo want to. This is a business problem. This is a business problem. Here the business problem or object is very clear. Business problem or the objective is very clear. What is the objective? What is the business problem here in this case? Customers are leaving the network. Customers are Geo facing a challenge of customers are leaving the network. So we need to identify the reasons. We need to identify the reasons why customers are leaving the network. Why? We need to identify the reasons Now Jio want to identify the reasons why customers are leaving the network, are leaving the why customers are leaving the network. Why customers are leaving the network? What are the factors? What are the factors are influence them to leave the network? What are the factors are influence them to leave the network? Influence them to leave the network. Influence them to leave the network. Okay. So customers are leaving the network. Why customers are leaving the network? What are the factors are influence them to leave the network? How to retain them? How to retain the customers? How to retain the customers? And when they are going to leave? When customers are going to leave the network? Are going to leave the network. When customers are going to leave the network. These are the four factors company want to understand. So let me repeat again. Jio facing a challenges of customer attrition. So the term attrition is nothing but people are leaving the network. People is nothing but customers are leaving the network. Now Jio want to understand. Jio want to understand why customers are leaving the network. What factors? Why customers are leaving from my network from Jio to some other? They're migrating to Airtel. We don't know. Definitely, we don't know whether it's Airtel or Vodafone Idea or some blah blah blah. We don't know. We are not sure about it. But we want to understand why they are leaving my network. So, what factors or what are the key factors are driving them to leave our network? What are the key factors? Why? What are the factors? So for an example, X is a person who is leaving the organization. X is a person who is working with ABC company. He is leaving he leaves the ABC, want to leave the ABC organization. Is it because of management effect or manager's effect? Is it because he is not getting sufficient projects? Whatever the project is getting, there is no quality in the project. Maybe internal politics, maybe it's not getting the good hike, maybe felt that there is no growth. These are some of the factors which are influencing an employee to leave the organization. Similarly, here, what are the factors are influence in the customer to leave the network? Okay, as a company, Geo company, if we know that they are going to leave our network, how to retain them? What are the strategies do we need to build to retain them? For an example, as ex employee want to leave organization, manager try to retain him. Hey, I will give a same high salary here. I will provide an on-site opportunity. Here also, if customers want to decide, customers want to decide to leave this network, how company retain them? What are the benefits we need to provide? All these things we need to understand. Next, most important thing, when they are going to leave. Are they going to leave this week? Are they going to leave next week? Are they going to leave next year? We are not sure about it. So we need to understand these factors now. So the problem is here very clear. So the problem here, what are the problem here? Understand the problem here. Here is nothing but uh, here we need to understand about one is about the customer attrition. That's the business problem we are solving. Am I right? Customer attrition, customer leaving. So we need to know what key factors are driving them to leave. Key factors. What are the key factors driving them when they are going to leave the network? Okay, how to retain them? These are some of them. So what is the benefit? What is the scope? What is the scope? Scope is, so if you are trying to understand these factors, we will go to know who is a loyal customer to the company, who is loyal customer to the Geo, and from which region are we getting the revenue? from which region are we getting more revenue? Are we getting which region? Who is the loyal customer to Jio? From which region are we getting the more revenue? So that from whichever the segment are we getting more revenue, so that it will be better, best to us, or it will be better to us to target the or to spend more amount or to provide more services to those customers. That is the scope for the bank, or that is the scope for the company, right? Or bank is nothing but here telecom network. Bank is a place basically. In order to get this loyal customer, or in order to understand the driving factors, what kind of information do we require? What kind of information do we require in order to solve this thing? What kind of information do we require? What kind of information do we require? So maybe the customer, maybe billing amount, is the customer living a billing amount? Maybe is the customers are living payment? Is the customers are living because of network? Is the customers are living because of roaming information? Is the customers are living because of usage information? Is the customers living because of demographical? Like multiple information. These are the different kind of sources of the information. Am I right? These are the different sources of the information. Perfect. Now, are you clear? So this is the first. Whenever you get a project, this is the KT session, knowledge series session they will provide to you. Okay, Mr. Sainath Reddy, we are facing a challenge of customer attrition. Can you help us how to retain them? Can you help us what factors are driving them to leave the network? Why they are leaving, what factors are influencing them, when they are going to leave in the future, and how to retain them. Can you provide us the best standards? You may ask, so if you solve these problems, what kind of benefits are you going to get? Are you means here the company is going to get? The company is going to get the company can able to identify who is the loyal customer. If the company felt particular X is a person who is a loyal customer, they try to provide more offers to provide up to X customer. And they observed that from South region, South region customers are more loyal customer to the bank. We are able to generate more revenue from the South. So we can provide more benefits to South region rather than other regions. Why? Here we are able to generate more revenue. If we are able to provide more and more services, they may stick on with us. They may exhibit more loyal to us. That could be the one more reason to us. So in order to get the loyal customer, or in order to solve our, in order to fulfill our scope, or as well as in order to understand our actual problem, so we need some information to solve. That information could be billing amount, payment amount, network, roaming, usage, and demographical information. Now, any questions, guys? Any doubt on this point? Any questions? Any doubt on the point? Any questions? Any doubt? So, any questions, guys? Any doubt? Everyone. Subha, any questions? Any doubt? Bhaskar, Gopi, Hemant, Jagan, Lata, Mahesh Babu, Abhinav Reddy, Monali, Manohar J, Sainath Reddy, Suresh, Srinath, PK. Any questions, guys? Any doubt? So, Vidya, any questions? Venkat Chalapati, any questions, guys? Okay. See, this is the just we are starting the business problem. Practical thing in the first day itself is not possible to understand. People don't know about the Python itself. We just started the very first day. So first day it is a practical, it is impossible to get that. Right. If I saw the example in the Python code and people won't understand, right? They don't have a knowledge on the Python. Okay. Okay. But definitely we are going to cover the practical portion. Perfect. Now, definitely we are going to solve the practical portion. Okay. Now, any questions, guys? Any doubt about this? Definitely we teach the practical. Without teaching the practical, how it will work, right? Okay. Now, data collection. Data collection. What data do I need for my process? What are the data sources? How can we obtain the data? What is the most efficient way to store and access of all the data? What data do I need for my project? We are solving for the postpaid segment. Postpaid segment. Postpaid segment. We are solving the business problem for the postpaid segment. Let's imagine for the postpaid segment. Maybe we are solving a region for USA. USA. So USA customers, most of the customers are postpaid. 99.9% of the customers are postpaid. So for these customers, what data? Maybe customers we required, you want to understand about their billing information, their payment information, maybe usage information. Under the usage, we have the inbound, outbound information. Inbound is nothing but incoming calls. Outbound is nothing but outgoing calls. Maybe we have a data usage. How much data is usage we are using. Maybe we have roaming information, roaming usage. Maybe VAS, value added services. Maybe we have complaints, have network issues, right? Network issues, demographical information, social media data also. Social media also social media information. Why social media? Does the customer talk anything negative about our company in the social media? Does the customer talk about the positive about the company? If the customer is talking negative about our company, highly likely chances customer may leave our net. Maybe customer posted any complaints about our services in internet. Highly likely chances he may leave the network. What people are talking about our company negative and all. So then we can easily understand these things. We can easily understand this. So we can understand this thing. Now, okay, where do we get this data? Okay, these are the data, sir. This is the data we require. But where do we get this data? From where do you get this data? Are we going to get the data? Hey, billing, commerce, will it come? Definitely no. We need to, it will be stored somewhere, right? It will be stored somewhere. Generally, where does it store? Can you tell me where does it store generally? Where does it store generally? Where does it store generally?
Data warehouse or data lakes.
Data warehouse are simple to say, a database simple to say. Okay. Okay. What database we have? What are the different? So there are three kind of things. One is about traditional data warehouse, where it executes row by row. Second is a distributed. Third is the cloud, where it works with the help of distributed environment. I mean distributed cloud. Traditional means, of course, we are going to cover in our course, guys, MySQL. This weekend itself we are going to start the MySQL. MySQL. What happened? MySQL is a database, is open source, where you can store the data and you can connect MySQL with the Python. Whatever the required data you need to extract from MySQL to Python, and you can perform your operations, whatever the required operation or actions you can able to perform. But here one traditional, it is a relational database, basically one relation, it is a structured database basically. It connected row by, it executes row by row. So when you have a large volume of data, it will take a lot of time to execute row by row. It will take a lot of time to execute row by. It will take a lot of time to execute row by row. Row by row. So then that is the reason huge volume of data. Now we are living in a digital world. People are not preferring to use, but it is a foundation session. It is a foundation. If without understanding the MySQL, we cannot understand about the distributed environment. Like distributed environment means it is a one master node. Under the master node, we have different cluster nodes, right? Different nodes, cluster nodes, and all. You have a total data 1 lakh records. It will divide into 10 groups. Maybe there is no guarantee 10. It could be more or it could be less also. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. It will execute parallel. First, this will start similar, the same. It will start at the same time. So it will again combine all these things into a single data source. It is a distributed environment. The execution time will take a lesser time as compared to MySQL. As compared to the MySQL, is 10 times faster. 10 times Spark and all, 10 times faster. But the cost, infrastructure cost, storing the data, as we are living the data world, to store the data, we require more infrastructure. So what people are preferring, or what people are trying to do nowadays, they are going the cloud. Whatever the services you have used, for that only you need to pay. And whatever the utilization amount of data you are utilizing, for that utilization amount only you have to pay. So there are the different types of clouds. We have AWS, Azure, and GCP, Google Cloud Platform, Alibaba, like multiple things. In our course, we are going to cover the MySQL, we are going to cover the Spark and all, we are going to cover the AWS, Azure and GCP kind of thing. All, I mean, so out of three, it is not impossible to cover. We are going to cover the Azure ML and all. So what are the data source? For time being, let's assume that we are using the MySQL data. For time being, MySQL. Under the MySQL, we have a different folders or different databases. We create the multiple databases. Under a single database, we can create the different folders. Like one is the billing, or we can create the multiple folders, multiple database for each one. So it is impossible to create the single folder. For each one, billing is the one database will be there. For payment will be the one database will be there. Like usage will be the one database will be there. Like complaints will be the one database. Like multiple things will be there. Now, how can we obtain? Okay, these are the database in the MySQL. How can we obtain the data? How can we obtain the data? Okay, we have these are the data sources, but how can we obtain? How do you get the data? How do you get the data? How do you get the data? So further, that is most important thing is, so we have a MySQL. For an example, let me explain you this. We have a MySQL database. It is a database, simple to say, MySQL. From MySQL to we do connect with the help of APIs or with the help of built-in libraries. We do connect with the Python. So heavily we are going to use the Python in our course. You may assume that, sir, I don't know Python. So that is the point where we assume that none of them knew about the Python. We are going to start from very basics of Python. Very basics of Python. What is Python? What is history of the Python? What is the loops? What is the conditional statement? What is the variables? What is the iterator? What is the decorator? What is the oops concept? How to deal with the date and time? How to deal with the data? How to create our own function? How to use the inbuilt function? Like everything will deal with the Python. With the help of Python, we load the data. In the Python we load the data and perform the operations or perform the required actions. Perform required action. Perform required action. And then whatever the action is done, again the data set, whatever the data set will store back in MySQL database. So that is how we are not going to lose the data. That is how we are not going to lose the data. That's how we are not going to lose the data. So we have MySQL. With the help of MySQL, with the help of different APIs, we can connect the Python server, MySQL server to Python. So whatever the required data we load into Python, and on top of required data, we are going to perform the action, whatever the operations you want to perform, we can create one final data set. Again, final data set will be stored into MySQL server. So that's how we do everywhere in the real world also. In the real world also, it does the same way. Maybe instead of MySQL, it could be Hadoop. Hadoop to Python, you connect, load the data into Hadoop in Python. We perform the required action. Again, we go back into the Hive Spark. That's how every day. Not only this, in the cloud also does the same. This architecture would be the same everywhere. We do follow the same. This is how we are not going to lose the data. This is how we are not going to lose the data. Now you may ask a question, sir, can you help me? Can you show me in the real world? Can you show me how to load the data? No, definitely we are going to. We have not started the Python. We have not started the MySQL. We are just understanding the process flow of the diagram and all at this point. Definitely, maybe in the next to next class or maybe now after 3 classes, we are going to start the Python and parallel we also start the MySQL. We'll explain you how it connects and all, how to connect. And every time, whenever you want to perform play with the data, we load the data from MySQL to Python. Sir, are you going to teach only MySQL? Can't you teach the Hive and Cloud? Definitely. Once you understand the basic, once you start with the baby steps, once you are perfect with the baby step, then we can go with the middle range, middle level difficulties. Beginner, middle level, and difficult. Cloud is a difficult part. Okay, difficult means, I mean, level I'm talking about, not the subject wise. Okay, that's how we do deal with it. That's how we do the obtain the data. So finally, whatever the data we can obtain, whatever the data we can obtain, the data which is in the form of combine all the data source, the most efficient way we can get the data in the form of table format. So not only the structured data, not only structured data. For an example, even if you have a text data, for an example, image data also. For text data, what happens? You have a text data, document data. No, you have document data. For an example, just give an example to you. So clean the document data, unnecessary things and all. So convert them into words and all with the help of and word to vector. There is a different algorithms and technique like bag of words, like TF IDF or word to vector. Based on this, it will convert the data into a table format. Table format. Table format. Text data, clean data, bag of words, TF-IDF, word to vector. Based on this, we convert into a table form. Even image data also we do convert into table format. We will get it. Structured data, of course, we will get the table. So if you want to perform 99% cases, 95% of the cases, we do convert the data into the text table format. Then only we can able to apply either machine learning or deep learning. Otherwise, it may not work. So that is the point. The most efficient way to store X of all it is the table format of the given data. Table format of the given data. Is it clear? Or any questions? Any doubt on this point? Any questions? So Subhani, VK, Kasu, Rajshekar Reddy, Sainath Reddy, Monali, Manjuna, Rengaraj. Any questions? Any doubt? Are you able to follow me, guys? Or is it boring?
No, sir, it's clear.
Clear.
Is it boring or is it interesting?
No. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we are just giving an idea, overall view about overall view about the data set. Okay, perfect. Now we understand about the data collection and all about it. Now, what is the next step here? How to see it is structured and not structured. Structured means it is a table format data. Not structured is nothing but unstructured data, which is in the form of PDF file, audio, video, image, text data, like speech. These are the unstructured data. These are the unstructured data. That's how you can see the difference. In yesterday's session, we covered heavily about the what is structured and what is unstructured with different examples we have covered yesterday. You can refer as yesterday's session. Okay, perfect. Now, what is the data processing? Okay, what in the data collection at a high level, what we have done, we collected the data, raw data from different data sources. We have just collected the raw data. So from raw data, we never get any insights or clear picture information always. We never get the clear picture information from raw data ever. It is never ever possible. What we need to do, we need to transform the data in more desired or more informative format. It can be possible with the help of data cleansing. It is possible with the help of data cleansing. What data cleansing does? Data cleansing does converts the raw data into more useful formats. Converts raw data into more useful formats. Convert the raw data into more useful formats. So convert the raw data into more useful formats. Convert the raw data into more useful formats of the given data. Now convert the raw data into more useful formats in the given data. So in order to get the more useful formats, 3 steps we have to do. Missing values. When you combine multiple data sources, when you combine the multiple data sources, when you combine the multiple data, there is a likely chances some records could be missing. If data is missing, more likely you cannot get informative information from the data. You cannot get the informative data from the, you will not get informative information from the data set what are existing. So if you have missing values in a given data, how to deal? There are the different techniques. I'm not introducing those techniques at this point, likely chances to confuse. There are different mathematical statistical techniques, or with the help of machine learning and deep learning, we are going to deal about the missing values. We have a separate session for missing values. If you have more of missing data, you cannot able to build the machine learning models. Corrupted data. Sometimes data is corrupted. It does not make any sense. So we cannot proceed further with the data. Some information is missing, some information is not available, some information available, some information. So corrupted data, we are going to remove unnecessary corrupted data, discard from the data set, discard or remove from the existing data. Remove from the existing, discard or remove from the existing data. Discard or remove from the existing data. Okay, so that's what unnecessary, unwanted information. For an example, let me give one example. For we are doing analysis of prepaid segment or postpaid segment. We are doing the analysis of prepaid segment or postpaid segment. What we discussed here, postpaid, right? Is it clear? Postpaid, right? For an example, when you have unwanted information, unnecessary information, let's say if there are the few records which are related to the prepaid information, which is not required for us, we are going to remove this information. We are looking only the customer is active customer. There are the two kind of churn. There are two kind of churns generally. There are the two kind of churn. Churn means attrition basically. There are the two kind of churn will be. One is a voluntary churn. Second is the involuntary churn. So voluntary churn is nothing but customer, they themselves are leaving the network. Customer, they themselves leaving the network. Involuntary means company force them to leave the network. Company force them to leave the network. Company force them to leave. You may ask the question, sir, why company ask them to leave? Company ask them to leave. Why? There could be a possibility. Our company automatically discard the network. Maybe discard the network. Likely chance if the customer is not paying the bill. Customer is not paying continuously. If customer is not paying bill continuously for 2 months, as per AT&T and all, 2 months. If customer is not paying bills continuously for 2 months, customer is not paying the bills continuously for 2 months. Those customers are called as a defaulter. If the customer becomes a defaulter, definitely company asks them to leave the network. Definitely company asks them to leave the network. Definitely company asks them to leave the network. Okay. Company asks them to leave the network. Okay. Company asks them to leave the network. So when you have a data, postpaid data, so there could be two possibilities. So here when you have discussed about the remove the unnecessary data, you have voluntary churn and involuntary churn. So before we starting doing our analysis, we are going to remove the involuntary churn customers information. Involuntary, because those customers are the default customer. We don't require their information to us. We don't require their information to us. So we are going to remove that's what, unnecessary data, unwanted information to us. So that's the point. We are going to remove the unnecessary or unwanted information. That is the point. We are going to remove the unnecessary or unwanted information. That is the point. Clear? Are you clear about this? Just give an example to you. So data exploration. This is the most important thing. Data exploration. Data exploration is the most very important point. So what is the meaning of data exploration? Data exploration is nothing but generate an insights from the useful data. That after data processing, we'll get the clean data. Basically, we'll get the cleaned data. On top of clean data, we are going to explore we'll start exploring what is there in the given data. So our objective was why customers are leaving the network. Here, understand the patterns of data. Understand the patterns of data. What does it mean? Understand the patterns of data. Is customers are leaving because of billing issues? Is the customers are living because of address? I mean, migrating from one place to other place, maybe one state to other state, right? Is the customers are living because of payment issue? Is customers are living because of complaints? Is customers are living because of roaming information? Is the customers are living because of demographical information? Is the customers are living because of usage? That's what here we're trying to understand the patterns. We're trying to understand the patterns. What pattern? Higher the bill amount, high likely chances to leave. More number of complaint, high likely chances to leave. If customer is more inactive, highly likely chances to leave. If customer usage is more for continuous for some time, what could happen? If the customer keep on changing the postal address, what will happen? Customer is not paying the bill, what will happen? Month on month, customer raising more number of queries which are related to the payment, what could happen? That's what. So from these points, patterns and all, we are going to draw the more useful insights. These useful insights will help us to understand. Understand the root cause of the problem. So data exploration always tells about the root cause of the problem. So this is called as the EDA analysis, exploratory data exploration, or EDA, exploratory data analysis. Exploratory data analysis. In real world, 30 to 40% of time will take care about this EDA analysis. EDA 30 to 40% of time in real world, 30 to 40% of time will take about the EDA. If you have done correct EDA, always you can estimate the correct cause of the problem. Then if you are not, if you know about the problem, let me tell you about the one norm. Suppose you went to a doctor. And you want to, sir, I'm getting body pains. Where are you getting the body pains? How frequently are you getting the body pain? Sir, every 2 days. One. Okay, that's fine. You'll give the medicine. Next day you went to, sir, I'm getting the appendix. So you'll give the medicine. So next day you went to the, sir, I'm getting headache. Next time I'm getting the fever. Next time I'm getting some kidney stone issues. If you are correctly specify your problem, or you correctly mentioned what are the problems are you facing which are related to health, then doctor give a prescription which is related to your actual problem, so that highly likely chances to cure from diseases. If you are not specifying or you're not specific, you're not clear about what problem are you facing, doctor may not help you to cure your problem. Here, if you have not done similarly on similar lines, if you have done EDA analysis correctly, highly likely chances you can able to understand the root cause of the problem. You can able to understand the root cause of the problem. If you are not clear about the root cause of the problem, then you cannot able to provide the recommendations. You cannot able to provide the recommendations. You cannot able to provide the recommendation. So in order to provide the recommendations, in order to provide the recommendation, you must have complete ED analysis with high quality measures. So for every data science project, people thinks about machine learning or deep learning is the art of the data science things, but that is not that true. EDA analysis is the art of the data science project. In the tutorials point of view, they'll talk about the machine learning, algorithm, deep learning. But I would suggest, of course, machine learning and deep learning algorithms are required for us. I agree. Apart from that, you can also focus more on EDA analysis. Then, in interview point of view, also they may ask you, "Hey, Mr. Sai, can you tell me what is the problem you have solved in real world?" In interview, this is the first question they will ask you. When you start attending interview, they will ask this question. Mr. Sai, can you tell me one of the most interesting project you have solved recently? What is a business problem? Or what is the objective of the problem? What are the data sources you have used? What are the approach you have followed? What is the approach you have followed to solve the business problem? What machine learning algorithm you have used? At the end, what recommendations you have? So while solving the problem, you may ask the root cause. What are the cause? What are the insights for the problem? What are the causes for your problem? Then you need to tell about the EDA analysis. Sir, I have not done the EDA. I built the machine learning. He will say that, boss, you are rejected. Even they might ask a question, which algorithm you? Why did you choose this algorithm? Why can't you choose algorithm? That's why. But they will specify more. Can you tell me some of the insights of a project? Can you tell me what are the actual causes for a problem? How did you tackle those issues? This is most important. So for any project in the real world, EDA analysis, which plays very, very important role. EDA analysis, which plays very, very important role. Okay, once you have done the EDA analysis, you'll also identify pattern. For an example, bill amount. What is the current bill amount? What is the last 3 months bill amount? What is the last 3 months bill amount? Average bill amount. What is the last 3 months average bill amount? Average. What is 6 months bill amount? Average. When you compare 3 months, 6 months, does the bill amount increasing or decreasing? Does the bill amount is increasing or decreasing? Or decreasing. Similarly, when you compare with the year, bill amount increases when you compare 6 months or 3 months. That means the customer utilization is more, usage is more. Because of that, bill amount also increased, right? So if when you compare 6 months or 3 months, bill amount is lesser. That means customer usage is decaying day by day, degrading day by day. That means looks like customer is more inactive. Customer is going to be inactive, likely chances to. So what about the number of calls? How many calls customer have made? Number of calls. How many calls customer has made last 3 months? 3 months versus 6 months. 3 months was like number of data usage. What is the total data usage? Average data usage. Average number of minimum, maximum number of complaints in a month. Quarter on quarter complaint. So this is the information is called the feature engineering. So feature engineering is a factor of derived variables, drawing the different patterns of data with the help of existing data. So this feature engineering will be done with the help of hypothesis testing. Okay, once you're done on all these things, you are going to build the modeling. Modeling is nothing but you are predicting the future. Here, modeling is nothing but you are predicting the future. Predicting the future. So determine the optimal data feature. So you have n number of columns like 3 months or 6 months, 1 year, number of calls, average of data like you have created. So machine learning will not allow us the all the information, It will allow only the optimal features. What are the, how do you get the optimal feature? What are the different techniques do you follow to get the optimal feature? That is called as a dimensionality reduction. Before we are going to build the model, we are going to use the technique called dimensionality reduction technique. It is all part of data modeling. It's all part of data modeling. Dimensionality reduction techniques. Dimensionality reduction techniques does perform remove the unnecessary or unwanted information. Remove the unnecessary unwanted information. So unnecessary or unwanted information. Reducing the feature dimensions reduction, remove the unnecessary or unwanted information. Unnecessary unwanted means whatever the information which is not required to remove from the data. And predict the target. Predict the target is nothing but we need to predict who is going to leave the network or who is going to attract, who is going to leave the network. We need to create a model, create a machine learning model or deep learning model that predict the target most accurately or more accurately. Target is nothing but customer who are going to leave the network. Customer who are going to leave the network. So we need to predict more accurately or more accurately. So this model we can predict with the help of machine learning or deep learning. With the help of machine learning or deep learning, we can able to predict more accurately. And finally, we need to evaluate and test the efficiency. How on a future data set, how your model is performing. Are you able to build the right strategy? Because why are you using this one? In the future, we need to predict correctly who is going to leave. So we need to evaluate and test the efficiency and future data sets, how our model is performing. For an example, you build model as of June 2021. You build the model, machine learning model. In July, you need to predict that July telecom data, you need to predict who is going to leave. In August, you need to predict who is going to leave. In September, you need to predict who is going to leave based on the June information, June model equation. You need to predict that. In order to predict, that's what we need to evaluate and test the how your model is predicting in the June, July, how your model is predicting in August, how your model is predicting in September. If these models predicting correctly for 3 months, next 3 months, then your model will go into production environment. Then your model will go into production environment. Then your model is going to production environment. This is how we are building the model. This is how we are going to build the model, right? This is how we are going to build the model. Now this is how we are going to build the model. July, August, September. So that's all. So deployment. Any questions, guys? Any doubt? Check the deployment environment dependency. So if you want to deploy the cloud, what are the dependencies we need to follow? If you want to deploy the model into SQL, see, hypothesis is nothing but an assumption. Simple. Hypothesis is nothing but an assumption which assume that we are assuming that. For an example, one of the point we said the 3 months bill amount is more than the 6 months bill amount. Is it true or false? Is it correct or wrong? Whether it is opposite or same. So to predict or to identify such kind of things, we are going to use the hypothesis. We are going to use the hypothesis. Okay, so deployment. So check the dependency environment. So if you want to deploy the model into cloud, what are the environmental dependencies? If you want to deploy the SQL, what are the dependencies you need to? If you want to, for example, you want to deploy the SQL, MySQL, you need to write the code in the SQL format. If you want to deploy the cloud, you need to write in the same way. Deploy pre-production test environment. Deploy the model pre-production before into the check the production environment, because production environment is a costly one. Before you go to the check it test environment how it is working or not. Monitor the performance. Monitor the performance. Performing the model, how your model is performing. For an example, you deploy the model in the September. How your model is performing in October. how your model is performing November, how your model is performing December. At any point of time, you observe that your model is not performing well and recalibrate the model. Recalibrate is nothing but rebuild the model. At any point of time, you observe that while monitoring, you observe that your model is performing not well. You need to recalibrate or rebuild the model. These are the steps we do follow while building the model. Let me stop here. You may feel that some of the things which are very new to me, we don't understand. So I understand.